Hi, I'm Dennis Phillips, and welcome to Everyday Reloading and Shooting. All right, welcome back. If you've been following my channel for the last several weeks, you know that I've been doing load development with CFE223 powder and charge weights from 22.5 grains to 24.5 grains, working with 5 different bullets with grain weights from 73 to 77 grains. And what I have done is I have identified the best loads for each one of these bullets, and I'm taking that bullet and that charge weight for that load, and we're going to be comparing these 5 bullets at those best charge weights. We'll be shooting a Hornady 75 grain ELD match bullet. We'll be shooting a Hornady 75 grain boat tail hollow point at 24 grains, a Hornady 73 grain ELD match bullet at 23 grains, a Nosler 77 grain boat tail hollow point at 24 grains, and a Berger VLD target bullet at 24 grains. You're not going to want to miss this, so stay tuned. All right, welcome back to the channel. Today we're shooting at the Georgia Gun Club. We're at their 100-yard indoor rifle range, and I'm shooting my Tikka T3X 223 mounted in an Oryx chassis. Today I'm following up on 5 previous videos in which I tested CFE223 powder from 22.5 grains to 24.5 grains with 5 different bullets. We're taking the best of each of those loads today, and we're shooting these to determine which one of these actually performs the best. I'll be shooting 5 warming groups with a 73 grain ELD match. Then we'll be shooting the 75 grain ELD match by Hornady, the Hornady 75 grain boat tail hollow point, the 73 grain Hornady ELD match, the Nosler 77 grain boat tail hollow point, and then the Berger VLD target bullet. We'll be shooting at 100 yards. As always, you're welcome to enjoy the music, or you can skip forward to the results that follow. Let's get started. All right, it's a little hard to tell exactly which one shot best. I think it's probably the third target with a 73 grain ELD match, but let's bring him in and take a look. All right, on my fouling shot, I had 3 through the same hole right here, and then I adjusted it 2 clicks to the right. Looks pretty tight here. That's probably right at an inch. I'm pretty sure this is right at an inch, maybe just under. We have a really tight cluster here with one flyer high and to the left. That was, I remember that one. That was my 5th shot right there. I made a note of that. And I probably pull that one, but shooting very consistent here. The 77 Nosler, I expected to shoot a lot better, but those are pretty scattered. And then the 75 grain Burger VLD, I expected to do real well. We've got a pretty tight cluster here, but then 3 off to the left there. So anyway, we will take these home, measure them, and see how they compare and get back to you with the results. All right, we've got our results back from the range. Over the last several weeks, we've been shooting 5 different bullets: a 75 grain ELD match bullet, a 75 grain Hornady boat tail hollow point, a 73 grain Hornady ELD match, a 77 grain Nosler boat tail hollow point, and a 75 grain Burger VLD target bullet. So on our fouling group, I didn't measure the group. I had 3 shots that went through the same hole right here. So I adjusted the rifle scope 2 clicks to the left, and I shot these 2 shots, and I'm measuring the point of impact just from these 2 shots only, and it's pretty much dead on center. So with that setting, I went ahead and shot the rest of these targets without making any adjustments. So our first target was the 75 grain Hornady ELD match bullet. We're shooting 23 grains of powder and traveling 2,566 feet per second. This is our average point of impact. We're shooting 0.89 inches high and 0.14 inches to the left. We have an extreme spread of 0.97 inches, so under an inch on 10 shots. We've got a mean radius of 0.30, which a radius is half of a circle. So if you double that, that gives you an average group size of 0.60 inches. And to verify that, our area is 0.83 inches wide and 0.68 inches high, which gives us an area of 0.56 inches. We're comparing our best loads, and when you look at the previous target here beside it, the prior target had an extreme spread of 1.38 inches, a mean radius of 0.39, and an area of 106. So this was quite an improvement over the prior target. Moving on to our next target, we're shooting a Hornady 75 grain boat tail hollow point. With 24 grains of powder, we're traveling at 2,622 feet per second. Here's our average point of impact. We're shooting 1.08 inches high and 0.01 inches to the left. We're still under an inch with an extreme spread of 0.91 and a mean radius of 0.32, which gives you an average group size of 0.64. Our area is 0.79 inches wide and 0.74 inches tall, so we've got an area of 0.58 inches. So pretty good shooting there. Moving on to our next group, we're shooting a 73 grain Hornady ELD match bullet with 23 grains of powder, again traveling at 2,566 feet per second. Here's our average point of impact, and we had an extreme spread of just over an inch at 1.03. And again, because of this nice little cluster right here, we had a flyer over here, but we still had a mean radius of 0.30 inches. The group is 1.01 inches wide and a half inch tall, which gives us an area of 0.5 inches. So a half inch group size there. Now, if you take this flyer out of the equation, we have an extreme spread of 0.73, a mean radius of 0.24, which gives you an average group size of 48 and an area of 0.32 inches. Now, the last time that we shot this, and I'll put these two side by side, the last time that we shot this, we had an extreme spread of 1.01, which was very similar, a mean radius of 0.25, and an area of 0.49 compared to 0.50. That target also had a flyer, and if you compare it minus the flyer, it had an extreme spread of 0.60, a mean radius of 0.20, which gives you an average group size of 0.4, and an area of 0.17 inches. So kudos to the 73 grain ELD match. Very good performer there. Moving on to the 77 grain Nosler, which is a boat tail hollow point bullet. Here's our average point of impact. We're shooting .03 to the right and right at 1 inch at 0.98 inches high. We have an extreme spread. This one is a little more scattered, but we have an extreme spread of 1.44 and a mean radius of 0.45. If you look at the area, we're 1.41 inches wide and 0.88 inches tall. So that gives us an area over an inch at 1.24. So not terribly great on the Nosler. If you compare that with the previous outing that we had with that same load and bullet, we had an extreme spread of 0.92, a mean radius of 0.25, which gives you a group size average of 0.50, and we had an area of 0.52. So it was shooting pretty good the last time out with this bullet, but not so good this time. Moving on to the Berger VLD, I expected this to be our best performer, but it was not. Here's our average point of impact. We're shooting just over an inch at 1.13 high and 0.37 inches to the left. We had an extreme spread of 1.01 inches and a mean radius of 0.35, which gives you an average group size of 0.70. We had an area just under an inch at 0.99 inches wide and 0.68 inches tall, which gives us an area of 0.67 inches. If you compare that to the last time out we had, and you look at these side by side, previously we had an extreme spread of 0.59, a mean radius of 0.17, and an area of 0.25. So I expected that to perform really well, but not quite as good today. There are 3 elements involved in shooting, and that's the ammo, the rifle, and the shooter. The rifle and the ammo were the same, so I guess you could say the shooter was having an off day that day. If I have to choose a winner, it's going to be between the 75 grain ELD match and the 73 grain ELD match. If you look at these side by side, the 75 ELD had an extreme spread of 0.97. The 73 ELD had an extreme spread of 1.03, so very similar. If you look at the mean radius, they both had a mean radius of 0.30 inches. And if you look at the area, the 75 ELD match had an area of 0.56 inches, but the 73 grain ELD match had an area of 0.50 inches. Another factor here is that you've got a really tight cluster on the 73 grain ELD match with a flyer off to the side, and that same target had a flyer once before. And if you take that out of it, then you really have a tight group with an extreme spread of 0.73, a mean radius of 0.24, and an area of 0.32 inches. So I'm going to have to give this one to the 73 grain ELD match. I do plan on turning these videos into a playlist so that you'll have all of this information in one place. I hope you find this information helpful. I hope you'll find a load in here that works for you. If you have any ideas, thoughts, questions, suggestions, please leave those in the comments below. I try to interact with everybody that comments. I hope you will also like, share, and subscribe. And as always, thanks for watching.